Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, wherever you're dialing in from. We appreciate you joining ActiGraph this morning on this webinar. We're going to introduce our new CentrePoint application to you this morning and talk to you about what we believe to be a better way to manage your studies. And we're excited about this new tool. The team here at ActiGraph has worked really hard to really deliver some powerful solutions to you, the research and clinical community. And we're excited about this as we approach ACSM. Looking forward to seeing a lot of you there and talking more about these tools. So we'll go ahead and get started today. And as a reminder, this webinar will be recorded and available to view later on as well. Just a couple of notes about the webinar. There's a control panel that's available there. Just click that to expand the question panel, and feel free to send your questions in at any time. We'll pause several times through the presentation to address those questions and try our best to get to all of those. And if we don't, we will certainly follow up with you via email. Quick outline of what we hope to cover this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about actigraphy and ActiGraph in general. And then we'll get into the CentrePoint application and some of the challenges that this tool, we believe, does a great job of meeting. And so we'll cover those and want to highlight two new features that we've just released: notes and attachments and bidirectional subject communication under the patient engagement veil. And then we'll cover upcoming conferences and where we're going to be in the next few weeks and months. So let's jump in and talk about why actigraphy. It's really an exciting time for wearable sensors right now and their application for research, especially in 24/7 measurement. And of course, many of you have used our tools and other tools in your studies, and so you're aware of most of these reasons. But just to cover why actigraphy at all, it's an objective measure. You've got proven validation, especially with our product. You're able to provide and give chronic care outcome improvements for specific disease states. Does a great job of supplementing subjective measures. So in addition to surveys like the IPAC survey, objective actigraphy monitoring does a great job of supplementing that. And then, of course, engaging the patient. And as we've learned from most of the mobile health and connected health initiatives, that is super important in days to come involving the patient community. But specifically, why ActiGraph? Many of you know our validation and experience background, and we do have thousands of publications that have been produced using our products in hundreds of disease categories, and just a few of them listed there. We are transparent with our data. We do strive hard to provide you, the customer, with basic and advanced measurements from our tools. We give you that data at low and high resolution and provide now providing APIs directly to our systems to enable your systems directly. We don't hold anything close to the chest. We are transparent with that data. And then, of course, our technology is always evolving as we listen to you, the customer, and adapt to your direct needs and try our best to provide and continue to provide robust 24-hour activity and sleep monitoring devices. You're seeing our newest product there, the Link device. Many of you have seen that and experimented with it. We're excited about the possibilities there. So most of you are familiar with ActiLife, and it does a great job of providing customers with high granularity when interacting with ActiGraph devices, all the way from device settings to detailed application of algorithms from published literature. It does a great job, and it will continue to evolve along those lines. And in fact, we've got some new sleep features that will be coming out very soon. But today I want to talk to you about ActiLife in the context of a larger solutions suite. And so we've done our best to provide a better solution suite that includes remote monitoring of subjects, the ability to create custom apps over APIs, the ability to partner with other research experts in your clinical environment. And we call this solution suite CentrePoint. And this CentrePoint system is centered around a web portal that amalgamates all of these items into a single location and allows you to really provide the best solution for your study from a high-level perspective. And so today, I want to talk to you about what this solution was designed to do. And here are 5 items that we want to talk about today. that the CentrePoint solution is focused on. Device and software deployment, data integrity and management, interpretation at high resolution, and that's where the link to the ActiLife solution comes in, the product that you already own. How does it tie into this logistics package? Post-processing data analysis and how we do that, and then last, subject and patient engagement and the importance of that. So we're going to jump into these and talk about these solutions individually. So we'll discuss how it works in combination with ActiLife to accomplish some of these key challenges that you, our research community, have made clear that you have a need for. So we'll talk about those in the context of the study system today. So let's start by looking at how we simplify device and software deployments using the CentrePoint system. So with this new tool, we've really done the heavy lifting up front by allowing you to pre-configure your study and the design of that study. So essentially, you have a one-time setup of your study that is pre-configured by a study coordinator. And this, in effect, replaces training for many of your clinical staff, or if you're multiple sites, it really helps reduce the training load for those sites. And as you can see in the screenshot on the right, a lot of these things that you typically think of on the fly, or that you make the decision of at the site level, those decisions are made up front and are embedded in the tool. This is a small screenshot from our admin panel that shows, we've configured the date of birth, we've configured the date format, you've configured what metrics you want to collect, the gender and the weight unit. What you're not seeing on here, but is also configured, are things like sample rate. And so with that said, let's look at how you normally think about collecting data. Here's a screenshot from ActiLife, and typically you'll pre-train, or you'll pre-configure or predetermine how you're going to configure the device. Are you going to set a stop time or a start time, the sample rate? Are you going to use wireless? And so these decisions that are typically made within the tool at the time of device setup are now made ahead of time, as we've just seen. You also historically have had to plan for software installations and licensing, and all of these things take time and cost money. And so ActiLife does a great job of providing this at a very low level, but our goal with CentrePoint is really to abstract that and make it much easier on you and your clinical team. So because the study is pre-configured, there's really nothing to do. We do have a synchronization client that is installed on any PC that will be used to deploy devices. And once it's installed, it really detects the presence of the device automatically and provides you or your clinical staff or your sites with the ability to have a single click setup of that device. And so you see in this screenshot, once they've clicked assign device now, they're immediately brought into a web portal. And because it's pre-configured, it really is focused on reducing errors at time of deployment. And so as we can see from this screenshot, we've got the pre-configured form fields that we've designed for this study. And built into this tool are real-time error detection features. And so we can detect if things are entered incorrectly. And these fields are study specific. These are things that you've designed for your study. And you can, of course, have multiple studies simultaneously. But this really reduces the overhead and helps to lighten the load for your staff. So let's talk about how CentrePoint works to improve data integrity and data management. Similar to the scenario we just described with ActiLife, this is a form that you're accustomed to seeing in ActiLife. And again, historically, you've had you had pre-study training on storage location of your files. Where do you want your clinical team to store files? Do you want that to happen on a network? Do you want that to happen locally? So that decision has had to be made historically before the study begins. Also, file naming convention. I know a lot of our customers name files based on the subject name and maybe even the site number. So that decision is made up front. Preferred epic resolution, the anthropometric storage requirements, and of course, finally, how do you transfer that data and where does that data go? When does that happen? And so all of these decisions, which create a lot of overhead, With the CentrePoint system, we've really tried to make those decisions up front. And so, again, since it's pre-configured, you don't have to make those in the heat of the battle, as it were. In this example, you'll see that subjects wearing the device can upload their data from home, or they can upload it from the home or a clinic using a computer. And then that data is immediately available at all levels to you, the researcher, from within the study admin portal. It's secure, it's real-time, and it immediately provides data at all levels, both EPIC and raw data. And so it handles the confusing logistics that have often distracted from the main goals of the study. As we'll see later, there's now ways to not only get data from the subject, but to engage the patient as part of their solution using the mobile application. So looking at the examples that we've discussed, you might envision that CentrePoint is built and designed for multi-site studies, and it is, but the truth is, in fact, that it also gives you benefits if you're using just a single site. The benefit of standardization, one-time setup, and etc. Those things are really ubiquitous regardless of the number of sites being used, and so I'd encourage you to engage with us further if you can see the benefits that this might have for you. So next we'll take a look at some built-in features that come standard with the system, and talk a little bit about those features in the context of how they're used in the tool. I didn't want to pause for questions at this point, so I will just take a break and see if there are any questions up to this point. Next, we'll talk about the features, as I mentioned, that are built into the tool and some of the visualizations that you have, some of those options. I don't see any questions coming in right now, so I'm going to continue, but encourage you, if you've got questions, to go ahead and ask those as we proceed. Again, taking a look at some of the options that are features that are available in CentrePoint, this particular view shows a study dashboard, and as you can see on the left, we have study milestone progress. And so, as you might imagine, we have the ability during study configuration to set up milestones within our study and flag those milestones as they are achieved. And this thereby gives you, the study coordinator, visibility at a high level of what's going on with the study. And you can see sort of in this graph that most of your studies have completed the early phases, and most of them are now moving into the later phases of the study. Scrolling down on that same page, I would then have the ability to look at a site listing summary. So any sites that I have, if I have more than one site, I can see when those last uploads occurred, where they are with their collection progress, and have the ability then to drill further and look at a particular site and each subject within that site and how they're progressing. You can see in the table a progress summary for all of the subjects. Again, these are features that are right out of the box with the CentrePoint tool that give you the visibility that you haven't had before. And again, all of this is occurring in real time, and it really helps to engage the patient better, helps your staff to understand what's going on earlier in the study rather than later. Drilling down a little further, we also see within a particular subject's page an audit log, which gives me the ability to see immediately when devices were assigned, by whom they were assigned, when milestones were set, and any things that may have occurred, uploads, battery charging status. All of these things are visible within the subject's page. And new today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this in particular, are the ability to attach notes and other attachments directly into a subject's page. And so you may ask yourself, well, why is this important? Some examples of why this might be important are the desire to correlate informed consent documents or patient diaries directly with the activity profile for that patient. And so now, using CentrePoint, you've got the ability to do that. And so let's take a look at what that looks like. This is a subject page just pulled in as a demo, and you can see from this subject page, I've got visibility of this subject's data collection status. The device that they're wearing has been collecting data for a little over 17 hours. And I've got the timeline that's down here at the bottom. If I want to enter a subject note, let's just say I want to enter this note, I could type it in at the site time, at the visit time, and add that note, and it immediately becomes available in their timeline. And this is then correlated directly with their activity data, so that after the study has been completed, I have these notes available. And of course, if I want to attach a file, I've got the ability to do that. I can just bring the file in, make a note about this file, and add that file directly into the timeline and have it appear for later download or later screening if I wish. And so this is a new feature that we've just introduced. We're excited about it. If you want to see this work, or if you think there'd be a need for this in your study, I encourage you to talk to our team a little bit more about this. And so we're excited about that new feature. Drilling down even further into a subject's page, I've got the ability also to see some processed metrics as they come in real time from the subject's mobile application. Here's a view of MVPA data plus wear, non-wear time data. All that's available at any time by just drilling down into the subject's page. And you can see all of these summary measures here are coming in real time. So I'll pause now for any questions we may have around any of the features that I've covered up to this point. Next, we're going to talk about post-processing, and then we'll also discuss patient engagement with an example. Okay, no questions yet, so I'll just proceed to the next section. Post-processing and data analysis. Post-processing data analysis and collaboration. How do we handle this, and how have we handled it historically? With the CentrePoint system, we have the ability to work seamlessly and in conjunction with your existing ActiLife license. And so at the end of a study, or even during a study, we've got the ability to immediately export data directly from the system into a raw GT3X format, or into your EPIC format you're accustomed to using in ActiLife. You can grab that data at any time. If you wish to analyze it in ActiLife, it's there. If you wish to pull it out in a separate format and analyze it in your own tool, that is also available. And so really kind of opening up your analytics options with the CentrePoint tool, and giving you more visibility to that data. And as I mentioned, if you do have ActiLife, just navigating to the Studies tab, logging in using your credentials, you've now got the ability to pull that data in immediately as it comes into you in real time, and analyze that data and perform your metrics on that data in near real time. So now I want to talk briefly about engaging the patient or the subject. And what we're talking about here is real-time bidirectional interaction with the study population. And what does that look like, and how have we at ActiGraph addressed that need? Here's a quote from Dr. Farzad Motshari. He was the former National Coordinator for Health Information Technology. And he said, "Patient engagement is the blockbuster drug of the century." And this is just one of hundreds of quotes that are out there with regard to patient engagement and how important this has become, especially in the research and pharmaceutical drug industry, as we learn about the importance of engagement and patient retention, or subject retention, recruitment, as well as efficacy of a drug trial. It's important that we keep patients engaged, and so ActiGraph is making a better attempt at doing that, and we'll talk now about a little bit about what we've done along those lines to do a better job of allowing you, our research customers, to engage those patients. So why is it important? I mean, we know that it makes sense, it seems intuitive, but specifically, why subject engagement? Increase cost savings. So if you've got subjects in the field who have historically forgotten to come into the clinic or have not complied with the protocol, engaging them keeps them in the moment. It reminds them of where they need to be. So this is going to increase your costs, reduce your turnover. You're going to also increase compliance rates. You're going to have better recruitment and retention. You're also going to identify unqualified subjects faster and get them out of your study and get qualified subjects in if you're engaging and communicating with your subjects frequently. And you're also giving the patient a voice in the process. And of course, this is going to encourage them to be more engaged and feel like they're getting something out of a study rather than just the opposite. But overall, what we're looking at is improved patient or subject satisfaction. That's the goal, because at the end of the day, a satisfied subject is going to be more, is going to provide better data to you, and they're also going to feel like they've gotten something out of the process as well. So we've looked briefly at how the CentrePoint solution provides you a mechanism to get data from the subject in near real time daily. That's available out of the box with our mobile applications that tie into that solution. But what we want to look at now is how you, the study coordinator or site coordinator or PI, have the ability to close that loop and have bidirectional communication with your subject. And so what we're talking about specifically here are messages. So just an example of some messages that you may want to send over, sort of affirming the subject's participation in the study or sending reminders and notices. So we wanted to, through CentrePoint, enable this particular piece of the tool to really fully engage the patient. So just a quick demo of what that looks like. I'm going to attempt to bring up my mobile application here on the screen from my iPhone and sort of show what this looks like. So here on the left, what I'm looking at is a subject who is in a study, and this is just a CentrePoint demo study that we've created. And I want to send them a message and affirm that they're going to be at the clinic tomorrow, say at 8 a.m. From within the tool, if I navigate to the messaging page, I've got the option in the top right here to click Create New Message. When I do that, I'm presented with a list of subjects that are available to me from the sites that I have visible here, and I can send over a reminder. So I'll just create this message, select a subject that I want to send it, and you'll notice that I've got a secondary subject here who does not have a mobile phone activated. You've got the option to activate that for them here, but I've already pre-configured that for subject 01. So if I send the message on the right side here where my phone is, you should see, if we can get the air server to work here. Get this to come up. Okay. So you'll notice here that I've got a new message that has come in on my mobile application, and it popped up as a push notification. But as I navigated into the tool, you'll see I've got this reminder. And on the left is the dashboard view showing me you sent the message. On the right is my phone. So if I click to read that message on my phone, you'll see that I've read it. Over here on the left, if I refresh the page, you'll notice that I've got one messages read, and if I drill down, I've got visibility into who read that message. And if I had sent this to my entire patient or subject population, I would get information about that as well. And so this is step one for us in patient engagement, is allowing you, the researcher, to communicate bidirectionally with your subjects. And so what's coming next? Of course, we want to take this further and allow you to engage them further by presenting surveys, by automating those surveys, by sending over IPAC surveys that they can do on their own. A lot of potential here. This is step one. We're really excited about it. And of course, with ACSM coming up, we anticipate a lot of researchers are going to be asking us about this feature, and so we wanted to show you today how this tool works and engage further with you on that. So again, just to emphasize that CentrePoint is really a solution suite that plugs into your existing ActiLife subscription or your existing ActiLife maintenance plan. It's allowing you to engage your patients with remote monitoring because there are built-in APIs. That's just a separate webinar. You've got the ability to create custom apps to pull that data into your own application and to really engage at a different level. And also partner. You can imagine the ability now to share your data with subject matter experts and collaborate with them on the fly. And so a lot of potential with this solution suite. So I'm going to pause for just a moment on this screen and take a few questions. We've got a few coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and address those. Angela asks, do all of your accelerometers work with CentrePoint? For example, ActiSleep, or do you need to purchase new accelerometers? Excuse me, Angela, great question. All of our monitors do work with the CentrePoint solution. Some of our older monitors, dating back to 2007, will not work with the system. But if you have a device with serial number NEO or later, and you can check the website for that information, it will work with the system. And so anything that we've sold in the past probably 4 to 5 years will work with the CentrePoint system. Thank you for that question. Praveen has a question. Asks, are the users of CentrePoint administrators by default? What are the various roles available in CentrePoint that can be assigned to users? Praveen, excellent question. There are multiple roles in the CentrePoint tool. So the highest role, or of course, as you pointed out, the role with the most visibility is the administrator view, which would give you visibility of all of your sites and all of your subjects. The next role down is a site coordinator, we call that role, or it could be a clinical coordinator. This person has only visibility to subjects that are at your particular site. And then the next level down is research partner. And so if you've partnered with someone who you want to engage and have them look at your data, maybe help you with data interpretations in just a read-only fashion, that's what that role would be. And so there's essentially 3 levels: the administrator, the site or clinical coordinator, and then the read-only research partner role. Thank you. Dan asks, how secure is the bidirectional engagement process? Dan, great question. It is as secure as any other application that engages with patients over HTTPS protocol. And so all of this data is contained within the CentrePoint system. The transmissions occur using 128-bit encryption, so there's really no way to intercept those. The security really comes to me at the point of entry in the CentrePoint tool, where you're reading the messages, seeing who got the message. And so, of course, we do have standards for password protection, for password renewal that are built into the system. As some of you know, this tool was really initially designed for pharmaceutical drug trials. As they began to use our products, we saw this need. And so, of course, the tool has to be FDA Part 11 compliant, and it is. And so I'm happy to speak with you further about the security things that we have in place to meet those requirements. That's a great question, Dan. Thank you. Next question from Mita. Can you send multiple reminders to your study participants at the same time if you want to remind all 50 of them? Yes, you can, Mita. You would just select, and so let me jump back to this page here. So if I'm creating a new message, you can see from this screen that's coming up, I've got the ability to select all of those subjects. And so I don't just have to select one subject or one at a time. I can select multiple subjects at once and send a reminder. In fact, if I need to send 2 reminders, I can do that. But from within this page, I can select all and send that message directly to them. And of course, if I have more than one message pending from the message dashboard, I would see who had read those and whether or not they had responded. Let's see here. Next question is from Valeria. Asked what is the pricing of this tool? I anticipated that question would come up today, and I'm well prepared to say I don't know. We do have a pricing model in place, and I will defer to our sales team, but the pricing is different than what you're accustomed to paying. It's based on number of participants and the duration of your study. And so we find that works much better with our customers who are trying to get funding, and they know the duration of the study is going to be from time A to time B. It allows them to better plan and budget for that. And so we'll work with you and your team on a custom solution that meets your needs. And so I'll have to defer to our sales team on that, though. I'm sorry. Next question from Alex. He says, hi, Jeremy, are the Wi-Fi or remote signal transmissions safe to be used in hospital inpatient settings, such as in intensive care units? Alex, thank you. It's a great question. And so I assume that you're referring to the bidirectional communication aspect that we've talked about today, patient engagement. So it essentially uses built-in notifications. For Android, it's just called notifications. For iPhone, it's called push notification. And so that particular feature just leverages the built-in technology that's there for iPhone and Android phones. But you may be asking about data transmissions of our device from the device itself up through to the study admin portal or CentrePoint portal. That technology uses Bluetooth low energy, and it is a very safe technology. In fact, a lot of intensive care units or hospitals or hospital settings use Bluetooth to connect devices to each other. And so similar to those protocols, they require authentication from both sides before they're able to connect and transfer. And so there are settings in place and mechanisms in place to guard against anything going wrong there. And so we believe it to be safe in any environment. So just some key takeaways today that I hope to point out to you, our customers. The CentrePoint system is really focused on improving your study design and the logistics of gathering your data and reducing your IT costs and overhead. It is not standalone. It works in conjunction with your ActiLife instance. And so you've got the ability to add this into your existing ActiLife maintenance plan. It leverages web and mobile technologies to provide real-time study data. This is new for us, and it's exciting for us. And for you, the researcher, it really opens a lot of doors for you. It enables bidirectional subject and researcher engagement. And so now we've got the ability to not only get our data in real time, but also to communicate with our subjects in real time. And so this really increases the stickiness of the tool. And it facilitates research team collaboration. And so by putting everything in a cloud environment, we now have the ability to bring in teams and partners from other sites, from other locations, subject matter experts to help us with data interpretation. And we've seen that particular use case happen over and over with our pharma customers who have engaged with subject matter experts in different areas of, whether oncology, physical activity, bringing those experts in. And I'm excited about the opportunity for researchers in smaller institutions to engage with researchers in larger institutions who maybe have more experience in certain areas. And CentrePoint opens that door. And so we're just thrilled about the opportunities and our desire to really further the engagement of physical activity algorithm development. So just a few key takeaways for today. So if there are any more questions, go ahead and send those. I'm monitoring the question panel now, but I did want to put this screen up here and let you know that we have several conferences coming up that we'd love to see you at some of these conferences. If you're there, stop by and see us. Our next conference is ACSM, of course, in San Diego. There's our booth number 528. We'll also be at these other conferences, the one in Edinburgh, Scotland, our sleep conference in Seattle, Washington. We'll have a booth at both of those. And we'll be attending ICAMPAM in Limerick, as well as DIA in Washington, D.C. So if you're at any of these conferences, I'd love to shake your hand, say hello. Love to hear feedback from you about the tool, and gauge your interest in the tool and how we might better serve you, the customer. So thanks again. There's a short survey after the webinar, if you don't mind taking that. And if you have more questions, send those over to our support channel, or just contact us through our help site there online, and we'll be sure to address your questions moving forward. So thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to talking with you more soon.